The quantity of lamb and bovine in the UK should be diminished by among a 5 and a part to assist fight environment changing, a paper says. The change is necessary, though by the government's Consultative Board on Environment Changing, CCC, maintains, since bovine and lamb meat make largest farmer hothouse gases. The paper foresees an growth in the quantity of pigs and chickens since these make less than methane. The Farmer Association NFU told it did not accept in reduction domestic livestock numbers. But environmentalists say the recommendations are too shy. The CCC says a 20 to 50% reducing in bovine and lamb meat grassland could produce 3.7 hectares of pasture of the present 1.2 hectares in the UK. The unneeded pasture could instead of increase forest and biofuels how would assist to absorb up company too. The board's consultation on making less than red flesh is less than drastic rather than NHS Eat Well guidance on wholesome consuming, that proposes a reducing in intake of 89% for bovine and 63% for lamb meat, and a 20% decrease in milk means. Brexit giving by the government the prospect to enter radically new policies how will award farmers for making less than hothouse gases and for breathtaking carbon sequestration emissions. Carbon sequestration is saved in seedling and in the ground, so the CCC recommends how farmer subsidies should lift the ratio of UK earth by forest management of 14% to 19%, and recover turf bogs. NFU CEO Minette Batters told, this NFU has been precise in its stance on UK agriculture's part in dealing environment changing, reduction domestic livestock numbers in the UK is not a portion of how politics. We are frustrated to see the Board on Environment Changing involve how guideline in its paper. The paper just does not recognize the ecological benefits herb-fed bovine and lamb manufacture brings to the UK. It would be a basic error to style a agriculture framework exclusively about an attitude how mitigates hothouse gases out of any consider to the broad effect of such politics for our environmental and our meal delivery. It risks making a politics. Over, the NFU had told how it welcomed the paper's urge for diversity of earth utilize. Enabling trees to back to a considerable proportion on the earth has a far more capacity for carbon sequestration reducing rather than the paltry measures offered in the paper. Friends of the Land Sky Shrub Soul told, we requirement to reforest far more than of Britain rather than by the government's present paltry wood planting targets, departure for which the paper telephone call for and duplicating would lead to castle up carbon sequestration and assist hinder floods. Down there may be debate, too much, above the board's guideline for the UK to increase more than trees and seedling to burn up for power named as phytomass. A individual CCC paper says phytomass can act an essential part in cut emissions in the UK but just if he's manufactured in a way how doesn't damage the environmental. It could just be utilized following 2030 if carbon sequestration sees machinery were adjusted. The CCC says environment changing is already changed the scenery. It says as UK temperature include rising by 0.8 degrees Celsius above the recent 40-year, farmers include done the impacts worst. Losing of ground fruitfulness, factory and pet kind are now obvious, it says, mostly managed by intense meal manufacture. Forecasting propose more than heating, sea standard growth, more risks of flood and dry spell. In spite several opportunities, the paper says, the adverse impacts on our soil, water supply, flora and living nature are potential to be considerable.